Yeah, I feel great, Greg. It really was a surreal night, and just let me try to walk you through what happened. I wasn't feeling great going into that game, and we thought the right thing to do in talking to our trainer was to see the on-site doctor that was appointed by the Big Ten, and went in there. He was great. He did a battery of tests on me, checked my vitals. Everything was pretty much normal. And he checked my lungs. That was the biggest test that he did. He listened to my lungs, and then they actually took me across the street and did an X-ray on my lungs, and everything was perfectly clear. So he cleared me to coach, but I felt that was the right thing to do, was to go see somebody that knew a heck of a lot more than I did. And I think we were all still learning at that time. In fact, that was really the night where everything started. The dominoes started falling with canceling the conference tournaments, and I believe that was the night that Rudy Gobert tested positive, and they ended up canceling the NBA season. Had I known then what I know now, and at the time, my big focus was trying to get our guys to go out and finish off the season playing with great effort. And I thought they did that. I wasn't glued to CNN or the nightly news. I was trying to get my team prepared to go out and play and finish off the season the right way. And had I known then what I know now, I definitely would not have gone out there and coached that game because I did have some of the symptoms that they do talk about now. But at the time, what I had heard about it was, it was something that if you had tightness in your chest or if you had trouble breathing, that those were the signs that you might have the coronavirus. So again, I felt the right thing to do was to see the doctor, and I was cleared. He cleared me to coach that game. I went out, did the best job I could, and with about 3.5 minutes left under the last 4 minute timeout, one of our officials came out from the Big Ten and told me that I had to leave the floor. So, I walked out, I left, they took me to the hospital, they did a test, which thankfully I tested negative. I tested positive for influenza A, which I know is a very serious condition. I had a very mild case of it and got over it within a couple days. But, a scary time, obviously a very scary time for all of us with what's going on in the world right now. I just want to offer my thoughts and prayers to anybody that's been affected by this virus. Thank all the workers, the frontline workers in healthcare, the doctors, the nurses that are in there battling every day, and the people that are out there with us doing the essential work with the grocery store workers and the gas station workers. Thank them for what they are doing to try to help keep everybody safe right now. But it really is a scary time.
What contact have you had with your team over the last 2 weeks, and what has your message been to them?
Yeah, all of our players are home, and everybody's safe right now, and everybody's feeling fine at the moment. The biggest thing we're trying to tell them to do is follow the guidelines that are out there right now all across not only the country, but we've got players that are in other countries right now, and to do everything they can to keep themselves and to keep others safe by following the guidelines. It's an important time for our players right now. From an academic standpoint, this is something that nobody has ever been through before, as far as having all their classes online, and the importance of staying in touch with their academic advisors and staying in touch with their professors to try to finish off the semester the right way. As far as going out there doing what they can to try to keep themselves in some form of shape, we've given them workouts, most of them body weight workouts, or get outside, just try to be active, go for a run, go out and do sprints, find a hill, just to try to do as much as they can right now to stay active. But the biggest thing that we've talked to them about is doing everything they can to stay safe and follow the guidelines.
Speaking of your team, you're down one more. It was that Kim Mack announced earlier today on social media that he's transferring from the University of Nebraska, and also kind of keeping the NBA draft in the back of his mind. What conversations have you had with Cam over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, wish Cam nothing but the best. And, the first thing, Cam's going to look at doing is explore the NBA draft. And it's a different time, again, for everybody right now. Generally, the way this works is you get your name in, you have the undergraduate advisory committee will try to help put you in a different category as far as where you're going to be projected, if you're a draftable player. then the decision is made whether you stay in the draft. And at that time, generally what teams do is they start bringing in players for individual workouts, either individual or in small groups of 6, or the maximum amount you can have. So that's probably not going to happen until at least into June, and maybe even further, based on what happens and how under control they can get things, and hopefully get back to some form of normalcy here heading into the draft. But that's kind of where things are right now. But we wish Cam nothing but the best. He had a terrific year for us. He's a good kid, and hope for the best for him.
The NCAA coach has put a moratorium on coaches to not be able to have face-to-face contact with potential recruits. How has that hampered? Because this is a big time right now for basketball recruiting, because there is another signing period that opens up here in a couple of weeks. How has that changed what you and the staff can get done here in this period?
Yeah, it is an important time. We're just trying to do the best job we can. I mean, we're all under the same circumstances, obviously, right now. So the thing that we're trying to do is talk to as many of these kids as we can on phone, set up a video call with them, be able to show them different things within our system, as far as our style and how we play. We ended up the year with the 16th fastest pace in the NCAA, 5th amongst Power 5 schools. As far as possession length, we were 3rd, 1st amongst Power 5 schools. So, just to try to get those things out there and try to show the system and the style and how, a potential player could fit into our system. As far as the guidelines, what's going to happen, the AAU season has been shut down, rightfully so, this spring, and we'll see what happens as far as if they will extend that into the summer, where it is a big period. The June months usually are for these kids to go through and play with their high schools, and then July is the biggest month as far as the AAU season, and then head into August where our guys will get back to school. But again, everything's so up in the air right now based on what's going on in the world.
We're visiting with Husker head basketball coach Fred Hoiberg here on Sports Nightly. We just passed your one-year anniversary of being Nebraska's head coach. As you look back over the last 12 months, a lot has happened. You had a big trip to Italy with this team. You had the season that didn't go the way anybody wanted. But what do you feel like you got accomplished here in the last 12 months?
Well, I do think it was a good year for us as far as trying to lay the foundation and put in a style of play that we feel we can have long-term success with. And it was a difficult year. Obviously, nobody expected going into this season winning only 7 basketball games, 2 in league. But it was an important year, again, for laying the foundation. There were some very difficult decisions that we had to make as a staff, as far as trying to get the right things, things that we will tolerate, things that we won't, as far as, how we're going to operate with our program moving forward. There's some things that I see that give me a lot of hope for next season, and a lot of that was with the 3 sit-out transfers that we had with Delano Banton, with Derek Walker, and with Shamil Stevenson. Saw a lot of really good play out of those guys, and they're building chemistry with each other when they were playing on the scout team, trying to get our guys that were eligible, as good a reps as they could to go against, some pretty high-level talent. I'm very excited about what could potentially happen here in a couple weeks with some of the signings that we potentially could add to this team that I think will give us more size, more physicality, and a group of guys are going to come in here and compete for obviously very valuable playing time. So yeah, it is as difficult as last season was. I think there's definitely brighter days ahead.
Coach, how has the communication been for you with athletic department leaders, with university leaders? I mean, this is, as you said, this is unprecedented time. We're all kind of not making this up as we go, but we're having to plan this thing as we move along. How has that been from your standpoint?
Yeah, the communication has been excellent from Chancellor Green to Athletic Director Bill Moose and all the way down. We actually had a Zoom, I guess it's called. Didn't know what Zoom was as of 2 weeks ago, but we had a Zoom call with all the coaches yesterday, and they're just keeping us as updated as possible as far as academics and compliance. Some of the different things that we're going to have to deal with, from an athletic department. But yeah, the lines of communication have been excellent, and Bill's doing a great job leading us through this time.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you spending a few minutes with us. We're glad to hear that you're feeling better. You did give us all a scare, and we're certainly looking forward for better days and be able to get back into PBA and root on the Huskers and get some life back to normalcy. I know everybody wants that.
Yeah, it was great talking to you, Greg. I appreciate it.